Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I am talking about the 7 books that I read in May. So again, I will give a synopsis of the book, tell you what I rated it, and if I had any particular thoughts about the book, I will share those as well. So let's just get into it. So the first book that I finished in May, I actually started it last month, but it is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. So this is a romance book, if you do not already know, following our two main characters, Anastasia and Nate. Anastasia, or Stassi is what they call her a lot, is a figure skater at her college, and Nate is a hockey player. There is damage done to one of the two ice rinks that they have, and so the hockey team and the ice skaters end up having to share a rink, which is what puts them in each other's paths. This was super cute. I devoured this book. I think I gave it 4 stars. But I read this at the beginning of the month, so I can't remember too much because I'm one of those people that immediately forgets books after I read them. But I do remember that I flew through this book and I was obsessed. I was watching Icebreaker fan art aesthetic videos for days after I finished this book. I definitely think that if you're into romance books and especially sports romance, this is one to pick up. I know most people have already read this. I was a little late on that train, but I really enjoyed it and I definitely recommend it if that is the kind of thing that you're into. The next book I picked up, I think I read this in literally one day, and it is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Fleeney. This is a mystery thriller. And essentially we have this married couple who are going on an anniversary trip out in the middle of nowhere, I think in Scotland. And they're staying in this old, what used to be a chapel that has been renovated into an Airbnb, and she won a sweepstakes for this trip. And so it goes back and forth between letters that she wrote when they first got every year of their anniversary, and talking about what that year represented in anniversary gifts, and then it goes to the present where they are walking around this kind of creepy chapel resort where things start to get weird and creepy very quickly. It took me a while to pick up on the plot twist in this book, and normally I get them pretty easily. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I read it so fast. I definitely recommend this. I don't think I've liked a thriller as much as I liked this one in a while, so I did really enjoy this book, and I think that this is a good thriller if you're trying to do something fast-paced, slightly creepy, with some twists and turns at the end. The next book that I read was our book club pick for the month, and that is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulek. This book, oh my goodness. So this is again thriller horror, and this girl is hired to be a nanny slash babysitter for this couple's child, and she comes to live in, she's living in their pool house essentially, and she's taking care of these kids. She's I can't remember if she's a recovering alcoholic or a recovering drug addict, but she is recovering from substance abuse, and so this is her lucky day that she was chosen to, babysit for this kid. She falls in love with the kid, but the kid starts drawing, and the kid starts drawing really creepy pictures of his imaginary friend. These pictures are kind of depicting an unsolved murder in the area, and so the babysitter starts to dig into that, and things just get creepier and weirder as it goes. And they have, what I love about this book is that the pictures are actually in here. So every picture that the kid draws is this is one that's not a spoiler, it's just a drawing that he did. So his kids' drawings are in here every couple pages, and let me tell you, they get scary. And I was terrified. I think I read this book in 2 days max. I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think most people in our book club that read this loved it. So I really enjoyed it, and I haven't given out many 5 stars this year so far. So this is one of the first 5-star reads that I have had all year, and it was so good. And the ending, it just hits you. Everything just happens, and you're just kind of in shock. because so much stuff happens, and I honestly did not see most of it coming. I was kind of shook. 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed this book. I think you should pick it up if you like thriller, horror, that kind of thing. Definitely pick this up. But just know that the kids' pictures are gonna scare you. The next book I picked up was Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley. Angeline Boulley? I can't remember how she pronounces her. I think it's Angeline. If you have not, you definitely should go read Firekeeper's Daughter by her and then read this, because this is the main character from Firekeeper's Daughter. This is her nieces, and their kind of stories. So they're twins. And essentially this follows one of the twins who gets assigned, she wrecks her car, and so she's gonna have to work over the summer for the tribe for like camp. And so because this is based on like a reservation, so she is helping basically their museum director guy with getting back stolen artifacts and bones of their people that are being kept by these universities. And it talks a lot about like how that is dealt with and how Native Americans were able to have things returned to them and the process you have to go through for that. And she sees the bones of Warrior Girl, and she starts dreaming about Warrior Girl, and she basically comes up with this plan on like how to get these people back. Lots of things go wrong. I gave this book 4 stars, and I will say that I was sent a copy of this by the author because this was one of my 2023 anticipated releases. And so I was sent a copy of this, so thank you to Angeline Boulley and her team for sending me this. But I actually really enjoyed it. I think Firekeeper's Daughter, in my opinion, was better, but also she spent way more years working on Firekeeper's Daughter than she did this book. And this one felt more YA to me. But at the same time, I couldn't put it down. It was so good. I did run through it. I gave it 4 stars. And so if you're looking for like a mystery, because it definitely has a mystery in there, I would pick this up. I will say there were some things that just felt like they weren't really wrapped up in the end, which is why I didn't give it 5 stars. But I thought it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I will probably read anything that she writes because I'm really into her books. So I did really enjoy this as well. Next, I was getting to the point where I just didn't want to read anything. So I was like, let me just pick up something that I know will take me like a day to read. Something super short. And so I finally did it. I'm so far behind on this hype train. I can't believe I haven't read them until now. But I did pick up Shatter Me, the first book. And I just knew that it was going to be short, and I have been putting off reading these books because I was scared that I was going to hate them, honestly. Sometimes some of these YA books that have been out for a while, I feel like, oh, I would have loved it in high school or middle school, but maybe not now. No, I devoured this book in one sitting. I read this book, I think, in one day, if not 2. I couldn't put it down. I also gave this 4 stars. I'm like super excited to read the rest of them because it leaves off kind of crazy. And I'm just kind of waiting because everyone like says who the main love interests are, and we haven't gotten any of that yet. So I'm just waiting for that. Like I literally read this book and I texted my friends. I was like, where is the connection that these two are supposed to have, because I'm confused. But essentially, this follows Juliet, who has been locked up for a really long time because if she touches people, they die. And now she gets essentially like pulled out of prison because the government wants to use her as a weapon. And I can't really say much else without spoiling it. Like, this is hard to explain. But it is a dystopian. I gave it 4 stars. I did really enjoy it, and I'm excited to read the rest, even though I've heard people say that after the first trilogy, it falls off. So we'll just have to see. I definitely also need to like look into the reading order because there are novellas as well. But I actually was pleasantly surprised by this book. So the next book I read took me like 2 or 3 weeks to read it, honestly, and that's like, that never happens. And it was Chronicles. So obviously, if you've been around, you know that I'm doing a Shadowhunter reread. And so we were like, okay, let's just pick up the novella and get one of them out of the way. And oh my gosh, this was the most boring thing I've ever read. I think that there was like 2 short stories within this that I liked. The rest of them, I was like, I didn't need this. could have skipped this book. But I'm trying to do the proper reading order, okay? So we read it. Wish I hadn't. I literally read like the first 2 stories and then didn't read again for like 3 or 4 days. And then the other issue was that I went out of town in the middle of reading this and I didn't take it with me because I didn't care about it. And so I was like traveling, not like just sitting on this book, did not want to read it. I did finish it, and this is the first Cassandra Clare book that is not a reread for me, so I'm going to give you my accurate star rating, and I rated it 3 stars. And the only reason it even got 3 stars was because Magnus and Alex stories, only reason that I cared at all. The rest of this book, I didn't need it. It's too long. It's way too long. There's too many stories. It was not needed at all. And my friend that I'm rereading these with would say the same thing. Like, it was so boring. Like, I literally was texting him. I was like, I am bored. Like, I hate this. Like, this is, why are we doing this? Neither of us had a fun time. But I did power through it. The last book that I've completed, and I'll tell you about the book that I am currently reading as well, because I think I may finish it before tonight, but I'm filming this early, so it's not going to go in with a rating, but I'll probably finish it tonight. But the last book I read this month is probably my new favorite book. Okay, if you go watch my last video, it was a reading vlog, and it was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. 5 stars, 10,000 stars, chef's kiss. I am obsessed. I literally loved this book as much as everyone else. And yes, I did get a sprayed edge copy. I'm so excited about it. But this follows our main character, Violet, who is essentially forced by her mother to join the Writers Quadrant in this war college, and that is the quadrant of people who she had trained her whole life to be a scribe, but now she's going to be a dragon rider. And it's like you either get a dragon in the end or you die. And there's like hundreds of them that go in, and not that many people will actually get matched with a dragon or survive. And so she's trying to survive through these like trials to figure out if she's going to end up with a dragon. And at the same time, there's some enemies to lovers going on. Okay, and that enemies to lovers was the best thing that I've ever done in a while. I literally, okay, I love fantasy, but I haven't had a fantasy make me feel the way that like this made me feel in a really long time. Like, I haven't been invested and like just completely obsessed with something probably since I read Throne of Glass. And so this was like, I'm pretty sure, well, my other friends, I'm reading it with them. Some of my friends from book club were reading it at the same time. 2 of them are not done with it yet, but 2 of us are, and we both were like 100% obsessed. I'm so glad I don't have to wait super long. Like, the next book comes out in November, because I'm not even joking. For the past 2 days, all I have done is look at Fourth Wing fan art and aesthetic videos on TikTok. Like, that's literally all I can do with my life right now, is think about Xaden. That's all I can do, because I'm literally obsessed with him. And the ending of this book had me, I literally screamed. If you care to see my reactions to the end of this book, it is in my vlog, which I will leave a card for it up top somewhere. 1,000. I loved it. And I know a lot of people had problems with it because they said it info dumps, but I don't have big girl brain. And when I'm reading, I don't want to use my big girl brain. So I had no issue with the info dumping. Like, I'm okay if you want to treat me like a child and hold my hand. That doesn't bother me. I know some people can't stand that, but me personally, this book was meant for me. Fantasy romance, or romance fantasy. I don't know. I don't remember which one is which. One is fantasy with romance subplot, and one is romance with fantasy. That's right up my alley. So I do think that there is a certain audience for this book, but I think that I was the audience for this book, and so that is why I loved it so much. And the last thing those are the books I read, but I am gonna tell you the book I'm currently reading, because I do think I will finish it tonight, and that is Meet Me by the Lake by Carly Fortune. Fortune, I still don't know. I did really like Every Summer After. When I ordered Fourth Wing, I have this thing where it's like, if I'm ordering one book, I might as well order 2, you know? Like, why waste the shipping on one book? So I bought this book as well. And it's summer, so I was like, you know what? This is great. I'm not even halfway through this book, but I think I'll finish it tonight because it is really good. It's a then and now scenario. Her mom died. She's come back to like run her her family resort that she never wanted. And this guy shows up and checks in that she hasn't seen in 10 years, and 10 years ago she spent a whole day with him, and he was supposed to meet her a year later at the resort, and he never showed up. So now he's here now, and so it's like going between the 10 years ago, their like day they spent together and what happened to then, and the current time of her seeing him again for the first time in 10 years. And currently I'm like really loving this book, so I think I will finish it tonight. Probably will. If not, I'll finish it tomorrow, so then it'll go on the June 1st, because that's how I count my books. I don't care if I read everything to the last 10 pages in May. I'm going to count it as a June book if that's the month that I finished it. So this is what I'm currently reading. I'll probably finish it tonight. If not, you'll see it next month. So this has been like kind of a bad reading month for me. Normally, like I've been averaging 10 books a month for the past couple months until now. But I'm just telling you, Bane Chronicles kicked my butt. I literally spent weeks trying to read that book, and that's what took up so much time. But I definitely should have a lot more time to read this summer, so I plan on packing in some things in June and July. I think I'm finally going to go back to From Blood and Ash. I only read the first book, so I think that it's time. I think that might be what I read after Meet Me by the Lake, and I definitely want to do like a reading vlog of that series, and we'll just have to see how well I do in June. I need to update my reading journal because I have not filmed anything for that because I honestly didn't really like the way it looked, and I'm like the whole month behind. I have it sketched out in pencil, but I haven't gone through and like actually inked in anything. So that is a video that will maybe be coming. You may just have to see like a backtrack of I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my May spread, and then I'm going to set up my June spread, and I'll show you my May and June spread together, just because I'm like behind on that, and I really like filming reading journal videos because I love watching those kinds of videos. So that will be coming at some point soon, hopefully. I just need to catch up on that and like figure it out. Basically just inking everything in because I have it all out sketched out in pencil. But that is all. Those are the books that I read in May. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.